I adore horror games. I am very bad at them, but they have a special place in my heart. So today, I'll be talking about one that I didn't know existed until very recently, Ao Oni. My Twitch chat, go follow me on Twitch by the way, link in the description, told me that I would absolutely hate this game and that I should play it. They were incredibly right. Ao Oni is a very strangely styled game. It originally came out in Japan in 2008 and grew in popularity because some big-name creators played it. In fact, it grew such a cult-like following that they had several full-length movies made on it, a series of novels, and even a manga. They released a remaster on Steam and the Nintendo Switch in 2024, but there have been many remasters of the game over the years.
Hey guys, I'm Hiroshi. That's a scary mansion. I'm gonna go look inside.
In the echoing labyrinth of my
ceaseless existence, Hiroshi, I am the inexorable culmination of dread, an apparition unfettered by mercy, a perpetual hunger clothed in fleshless inevitability. Your fragile heartbeat is but a trembling overture to the grand, inevitable crescendo of your annihilation.
Before I get too deep into this, let me clarify a few things. First, I'm not going to call the monster Ao Oni every time. He will now and forevermore be Purple Guy. Second, this is not a walkthrough, so don't expect me to explain every single puzzle or trial you have to go through. This is just so you understand the game a bit better before or after you play through it. Third, I'm going to entirely base this on the Steam remaster of the game, because that is the one that I played, and I'm not about to play every single adaptation of this game, so you can suck it up. This upcoming part has no major spoilers, but once I get to the story, it's your fault if you get spoiled. Also, when I played the game, I named Hiroshi Grandpa for whatever reason, so when you see that, that's why. Anyways, thank you for watching, and welcome to Ao Oni. Let's start with the good before we move to the bad. There's not a lot here, so no need to buckle up. This game was very simple. Arrow keys, the enter key, and the escape key. That's it. Second, ooh, baby, oh boy. And the only other thing is the jump scares were outstanding. I really wish they did more of it. I've played a lot of horror games in my day, so jump scares don't really get me a lot of times, but this game managed to pull it off in a way that didn't come across as scary because loud. Like, I was actually startled a few times. A lot of horror games lately are just PNG loud noise jump scare type of deal, but this game did it differently. They actually had the purple guy jump out at you from behind things or from in things and immediately start a chase scene that if you weren't ready for, you would almost certainly die. It didn't happen a lot, but it was enough that you had to stay on your toes. Oh, I haven't been over here yet. Okay. Okay! Why did that get me? That is quite literally all the good I could muster to say about this game. Now, it's time to go over my gripes. You'll definitely need to buckle up for this one, because there is a lot. To start us off, the movement of this game works off of a grid pattern, which is very infuriating. There were many times throughout this game where I would try to go through a door and would miss it completely because you can't move diagonally at all. Oh, here I go. How did I miss the stairs? What does this thing do? Oh. What?! Also, the purple guy just follows you straight through any room you walk into, usually resulting in you getting cornered. Although, later in the game, I found that his pathfinding is actually pretty awful, and you can just walk around him very easily. The problem with this is, since the map isn't entirely cohesive, you can never tell if he's following you through the door until he's already inside. Once you go through enough doors, though, eventually he just gives up and runs off or disappears or whatever he does. I don't really care. It just seems like he has a random chance of showing up anytime you go through a door, and if you don't have a direct path to run through a bunch of doors, he just kills you. My main gripe about this game was that nothing was intuitive. My chat had to help me through almost every step of the way. Now, maybe that's just me being bad at video games, but I struggled a lot. There were specific tools you had to use for specific things that just didn't make any sense or didn't help you know when to use a tool. You could also combine items, but there's no way of knowing how to do that unless you just randomly try to use a tool when you aren't around something that you can use a tool on. This also only happens like twice in the entire game. I spent a lot of time running around and clicking on random things because, again, nothing was intuitive. Just some things were interactive and some things weren't. They also do this classic video game thing where you have to find a key to unlock a door with another key behind it, and they do that so many times throughout this game. They just artificially lengthen the game for absolutely no reason. There were also several puzzles that just didn't make any sense whatsoever unless you understood how it worked before going into it. My chat was just reading the wiki or walkthrough guides the whole time to help me out. Side note, there are a ton of fake walkthrough guides for this game, which to be fair, I find very funny, although it's not something I've seen much in other games. Another weird feature in this game were the cabinets that you can hide in. They were usually so far on the other side of the room that you didn't even have the chance of getting to it before the purple guy had already entered the door, and by that point, he would just pull you out of the cabinet and kill you. In fact, I didn't even successfully hide from the purple guy in a cabinet until very late in the game, and I even got an achievement for it. It's almost like they didn't intend for you to actually use them. Another complaint is how some of the cutscenes transition into gameplay. There's one scene near the beginning where the purple guy runs at you, but the game doesn't let you move until he's almost on top of you. So obviously, I tried pressing my arrow keys to run away, just to be left standing completely still and vulnerable. It was several minutes later of me standing perfectly still and dying over and over again before I realized I could run away. I just had to pick my hands up from the keyboard, wait a few seconds, and try again. I'm 99% sure you can move during that grab sequence. You can't. You cannot. I'm spam clicking every... Oh, you can now! It just freezes you for a second. Why does it do that? Bad game design. The last thing I'm going to complain about was the lack of auto-saving. Now, on one hand, it forces you to be very careful about saving all the time. On the other hand, it's basically just another thing you have to remember for no reason. Not to mention the possibility of you accidentally saving in a spot where you have no way of getting out. I understand why they did the manual saving, but in a game like this, I feel like autosave would have been the better choice. Overall, I thought the gameplay was pretty lacking. The lack of intuitiveness, the bad controls, the forced grid you had to walk in, it all just made for a very clunky experience that I didn't really enjoy. Not to say I haven't experienced worse, but this was pretty bad. To be fair though, the game was made in 2008, so I can't complain too much, but it still made me pretty irritated when I was playing through it in terms of gameplay. The story behind Aoni is a short and confusing one. There are many iterations of the game, many different endings, and no consensus on what the true story is, but I'm gonna do my best to try to explain it in a way that makes sense. From this point on, there will be spoilers for the game, so if you want to play the game, go do that now and come back. There are 4 main characters in this game. You play as Hiroshi, and your friends, Takeshi, Mika, and Takaru, sneak into an abandoned mansion near the edge of town. The mansion is clearly very old, but they state that it's surprisingly clean. On the inside, Hiroshi and his friends make the shocking discovery that the inside of an abandoned mansion is pretty eerie, quiet, and cold. According to the gang, there are some strange things that have rumored to have happened in the mansion in the past. Hiroshi is very unsettled by this, but like any classic horror story, they just keep pushing forward. During their initial conversation, the sound of a plate breaking echoes through the mansion, and again, like any classic horror story, they all split up to look around. Oh no. There are several things that you have to find before the next part of the story takes place, but this isn't a walkthrough, I'm just telling you the lore. While exploring in what appears to be a library, Hiroshi stumbles upon a monster. A tall, very purple creature with an oversized and mutilated head. For some reason, everyone insists that he's blue, but they are wrong and I hate them. This creature is the Aoni. Everyone else had apparently run into the monster already and went into hiding. This results in Hiroshi being left entirely alone to run from the purple guy. I wish there was more to it, but there really isn't. They just show up in a mansion, scatter, find a monster, and hide. Hiroshi then just wanders around the mansion by himself for a while to explore. I like how he acts like he didn't just get chased around by a giant purple abomination trying to kill him in cold blood. Nonetheless, though, Hiroshi continues to find things. Traces of previous victims, scratches on the walls, broken furniture, and faint stains that hint that others may have been there before him. Now, for a lot of the game, it's just running through rooms, solving puzzles, and escaping the purple guy over and over again. So there wasn't actually much story. Researching for the story section of this video was actually very difficult because of the utter lack of story that was in it. I can understand why kids were so scared by this in the early 2000s, but looking back on it now, it almost feels like a joke, it's so bad. Anyways, enough with that tangent, let's get through this so that I don't lose my mind. This is the part where Hiroshi starts to come across his friends, and they keep managing to die. Mika was the first to go. She clearly starts going insane somehow, despite only being in the mansion for like a few hours at this point. Hiroshi eventually ends up leaving her in the room he found her in, and when he comes back, she is being eaten by the purple guy. When a person dies, they take on the purple guy form, but with their own features. So when Mika gets killed, you now have another purple guy rummaging around that you have to deal with. Although there are only a few instances where you see 2 of them in the same place at the same time. The second death was Takeshi. He thought it'd be a good idea to hide in a closet, and he stayed there for a while just to eventually hang himself later on out of guilt for quote-unquote leading his friends into the mansion, which doesn't even make sense given they were all in on it, but that was a decision he made. Takaru is the most brash of the group. He's very cocky and likes to quote-unquote take the lead whenever given the chance. He's not very good at it though. Eventually, Hiroshi finds him tucked away in a closet and tells him to follow him into the next part of the mansion. This is when they run into the purple guy again. As they run, Takaru trips and falls, which allows the purple guy to catch and kill him. This was the last of Hiroshi's friends to die. Eventually, after the purple guy kills all of Hiroshi's friends, he realizes that they are being turned into purple guys. I have absolutely no earthly idea how he managed to take this long to come to that conclusion, but given the rest of the story, I'm also not exactly surprised. Hiroshi starts to feel very alone at this point in the game. He's not living for his friends anymore, he's just living for himself. Every friend that was killed just becoming another reason he has to keep running. Eventually, Hiroshi runs through enough rooms, annexes, and cellars, he comes to the conclusion that the mansion is more like a nest than a home. It exists only to lure people in, just for them to get taken over by the purple guys living in the mansion. At the very end, he finally finds a way out, only to find that the purple guy followed him outside. They aren't confined to the walls of the mansion. They are a curse, one that you cannot escape, regardless of how fast and far you run. His friends are forevermore doomed to be purple guys, and until the end of time, they will pursue him. Hiroshi is left all alone. Uh-oh. No! They killed him on the funny rope! No! Why did this happen? I've got a bad feeling. I had a feeling. He eated it. He eated it, and he's dead. And he's dead. The story itself was such a nothing burger. For being the inspiration to so many games and titles that have come out in the past almost 2 decades since the game came out, I thought it would have been more in depth, or at the very least, a little more mysterious about certain aspects of the story. Nothing was left to the imagination though. You know exactly what happens. And on one hand, I respect a story that leaves no stone unturned. But in a story like this, where the topic is pretty basic, at least give me some kind of mystery so I feel like I need to dig deeper into the hidden meanings of things. There just wasn't much of that at all in this game. At least I wasn't confused at what was going on, even for my simpleton brain. Overall, I hated the gameplay and the story was boring. There wasn't anything inherently awful about the game. They didn't lean into disgusting and vile topics. They didn't make the controls purposely so bad that they made me upset. It was all just okay. I honestly thought after reading into this a bit more that I would like it a bit more than I did, but I was wrong. I still think the game sucks. Do I regret playing it? No, not really. Would I ever play it again? Absolutely not. But I would recommend you play it for the sole purpose of it being a massive inspiration for much of the horror that we see today. Thank you for watching. I feel sick. What's going on?